Hey, let's talk about Galactic Heroes 2. Hey, everybody, it's me and Steve on our not so annual Tuesday night. If I sound weird or my camera looks like garbage, it's because I'm up in the office and on my usual setup. But
You're not in the basement.
I'm not in the basement. So, that being said, me and Steve are going to talk about the upcoming release for Galactic Heroes 2 because we knew that you people would want to know what's new, what's different, and also ask some questions so the chat will be ready to go when it's time. Before we kick that off, I wanted to reinforce that March to Victory, you'll notice down at the bottom, our upcoming convention here in Kansas City will be at the last weekend of March. Go to this website, get some info. Each day we are constantly adding new vendors, new people running games. We're trying to post pictures. So we're making vendors and gamers post pictures of what they are bringing to the convention. Oh, we got Not Jay showing up. It is going to be
Hey,
great. It really
hey,
is.
Not Jay.
So
Yeah, it's gonna be a really good time, and we need a good gaming con.
Yeah.
and it's gonna be...
Matthews is here too. Oh no.
Hey man,
Mr. D, that must be Dorian. So why a convention? And then we'll do why another version of Galactic Heroes. Why a convention is because Kansas City can always use another great convention. We have so many clubs here and such a great group of gamers here that we need another chance to get together. This one's in the spring. We have recruits in the fall. We've got some of the other conventions in the fall, but you never know what's going to happen with those. So
it's affordable.
And it's affordable. $12, you buy your ticket in advance, $15 at the door. That's for Friday night, all day Saturday, and Sunday morning. And Sunday morning is going to be a special treat because we're going to have a couple of tournaments. All right, so let's talk about Galactic Heroes 2. First Galactic Heroes was our Kickstarter way back in 2018. So she's 4 years old now.
Wow, I didn't realize it was
we've done a lot of. It's funny because people are just now, discovering it, but we've had tons and tons of games between when it first came out and now. So we've learned a lot of things. We've added a lot of things. We've made a lot of house rules that have become rules. Things like that. So I'm gonna throw it up right here. So you're actually seeing the guts of the new Galactic Heroes 2. Not a lot of it. There's some elements that are the same. Or with our intro, we go through playing the game, use of special cards, lay out our actions. As you'll notice, this is full color, so this will be full color, perfect bound. The second edition is 92 pages, and the reason why it's 92 pages we'll get into. And if you get the limited edition hardcover Savor of the Universe edition, it'll have even more. So we've filled it with some pictures from our games. This one I think is from Steve's Fabulous 50 game that we were in. Mechanics are the same. Lots of illustrations. We've got into nitty gritty of close combat. while writing the fantasy rules, we really, since it's really close combat oriented, we got into a lot of stuff with that laid out better in here. Wounding, we show all this time. I'm showing you all the different effects of wounding. Got lots of retro miniatures in here and things like that. But some of the things we've added are things we added in other editions of the game, such as the gruesome deaths, the retreat now. That's always been a house rule, which was if you have more shock than you have remaining wounds, you retreat, which is something that we have done as a house rule, and now we're making it official. We're getting a little bit more into the depths of tasks and how you can make your own rules for that. Leaders, there's some of Steve's stunning paint work on some of these pictures. Go through an example of a turn. Okay, so this is where things start getting different. We start talking about building a crew, and we borrowed some stuff from fantasy on how we're constructing our crew. We're still keeping it with a leader and a specialist and some regulars, which you can switch out for grunts. But we're also going to give you how we were pretty basic about how you equipped your troops in the past, and now we're going to get into some basic rules on how to do that. We've added to the traits. Let's see how many traits there are. I haven't actually counted. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there's some new ones.
7, 8, 9.
And the thing is like, if obviously, hopefully, everybody's played Galactic Heroes, has made cards and characters for Galactic Heroes. There's a lot of cool new stuff, and you'll end up redoing your stuff.
You're going to redo it.
I've redone the cards, and it's more of a if you're into campaigns, it's built for that. So you can acquire new stuff, equipment, and all that good stuff.
Well, there's more than 50, probably close to 60 traits. So, and then of course our negative traits, which are always fun. And we kept the crew traits, so you could throw those in too. So it gives you a little bit extra.
My favorite new trait, and I can't remember what it's called because it's like the shit talking trait.
That would be sharp tongued.
Sharp tongue.
You really know how to hurl an insult. If you pass an easy 3+ task roll, you can force an enemy in close combat to re-roll their attack because they're so frustrated with you giving them the what for verbally. We've got our how to build your alien monsters. So if you want to have your monsters of Mars or Dune, throw them in there. Got our psionics and powers of the universe, which is code for the Force. And explain them a little bit better. And so now we started getting equipment. So we changed how armor works because I like how it works better in all the other editions than we originally did it. So originally in Galactic Heroes, armor was just a minus on your chance to get hit. It acted more or less like cover. Now armor isn't really I don't want to call it a save throw because it's not. If you get hit and you're wearing armor, after you find out what the wound is, the armor will reduce at a factor. So if you have a guy who's killed and he makes his arm wound, or out of action and makes his armor roll, then he just becomes wounded. Or if he was wounded and he makes his armor roll, then it just becomes shocked. And if he's shocked, then there is no effect. So there's a chance nothing will happen to you. But I think it gives you a better interpretation of how armor should work in this. And we still don't give Stormtroopers armor because they didn't do anything.
They didn't. A gaffy stick tore through those.
Yeah, watch a book or watch a Mandalorian and see what armor does for the Stormtroopers in that. We added a lot of the equipment from fantasy and stuff because you could be in a low fantasy, low sci-fi setting to where you are, you're just maybe on a planet that uses like laser crossbows and still into fencing and stuff. I mean, look at how 40K still uses a lot of hand-to-hand things. So, and it also gives you a chance to mix fantasy, sci-fi, something more like Masters of the Universe or something like that.
Gaining the Beastmaster.
Mm-hmm. You're the fighting, your hunter from the future.
Yeah.
Fighting Eagle. We've given you quite a few weapons. Here's a big weapons list. And then we explain the weapons properties. Oh, so this is this thing, Steve, like we added a bunch of new gear. So
yeah, and we'll show some examples here in a bit, but it's like that's the thing is with equipment, weapons and gear, everything has a I'm not going to say points. They take up. You've got X amount of allotment for your character, and each weapon or gear is a certain.
Yeah. So a leader has 5 equipment slots. His specialist or sergeant has a 4, and grunt and the rest start with 3, and grunts only have 2. So, right. For instance, a 2-handed weapon costs 2 slots, so it is like a ranged weapon. So, gets a slot value. Yeah. So. And the best part is we'll get into here is one of the things that we've added to it is our Codex Galactica, which is a bunch of pre-statted up troops from your favorite editions. We've got mounts in here, so if you want to have, I don't know, big lizardy thing that you want to ride through the desert on. We've got a couple of sample crews here to see how stuff is built. Like I get Captain Bobo. And then how you can make your campaigns. We've got the scenarios from the original Galactic Heroes sort of cleaned up, looking a little bit better. And then so we've added vehicles. The vehicle rules that originally were a separate book are now part of 2nd edition. And we go into how you can build, how vehicles work, how you can build your own vehicles, but we give you some templates to use too. So you can use these with the already kind of pre-built, and then you just kind of fill in your own weapons. And like there seems to be a 2-legged walker that runs around with guns. And then we got into the Codex Galactica. So this is a whole big section that's just a bunch of troops you may have seen somewhere else already statted up to you. I started with my favorite, my boy Dash Dixon and the Rocket Rangers, the Birdmen of Eltanus, the Rangers of the Forest Moon, Catwomen of Philanus, the Imperial Forces of Zord Khan, the Robot Legion, and then we move into a faraway galaxy, and we've got some pre-statted troops for like the Princess, Rebels, that sort of thing, bounty hunters. Then we move into Federated space, science officers, captains, medical officers, dudes in red, that kind of stuff. And then we've got the different enemies of the Federation. Oh, but we've also given you rules for the phasers and the teleporters. And then we go to this interdimensional time-traveling scientist.
Who?
I don't know who that is. All his enemies. And a grim, dark future. And how we've statted up some things. So really, you've got a bunch that you can use from your collection already ready to go out of the box if you want. Ancient Mars, so like John Carter, and then Colonial Mars, which would be more of a Space 1889 sort of version of it. And that's about it for the new Galactic Heroes. So I mentioned the hardcover edition will also have in it Starfighters, which introduces rules for fighter combat, ship combat, and space. So you can mix up, have a whole big campaign between you take the space battle to the ground, and then have, or vice versa, throw in some bigger battle stuff there, have some large battles, some small battles, that kind of thing. So we've got that for you. It's already been sent to the printers, so the hardback is yet to be finished, but it will be done here soon. We're taking pre-orders. I was going to show you some of the.
How long are you taking pre-orders?
I think it's end of the month. I'll have to look. I don't take care of such things. I have staff for that, aka my wife, who takes care of everything. So while we were talking about pre-stated characters, let's add to our stream some of the Bundabar forces you've put together. Let's go to the beginning here. That Steve has put together for our games. Yes, so Ache pointed out that we'll be taking pre-orders till 31st of January. Thank you.
So,
not Jay.
Jay, I'm going to echo real bad on your end.
Uh-oh. I don't hear anything.
Okay, I do.
So hopefully. So these are ones that Steve made. So these are made so they could be folded in half and inserted into a card holder. And here we've got some of the scum. So
these are all using the new Galactic Heroes 2.0. So I'll kind of walk you through it. They look primarily the same. The one thing I didn't put on the cards is Bosk is the leader, but I didn't add the leader trait onto that card because it's just
we all know what leaders do.
Yeah, it's everybody has it, so I didn't put it on there. At the bottom in the gray box, I have their weapon, and also if they have purchased a piece of equipment, it's under there. So new things are like Medipack, and I believe the way the Medipack is, I've got one per game. You can buy more, but basically the Medipack acts like a Queen of Hearts, so you can play that and heal yourself.
Queen of Hearts. Yeah, so it makes anybody carrying one essentially a medic.
So the cool thing on this, and I'm trying to look to see if I have it. Yes, I do. If you have, let's say, a specialist or even a regular, and they buy a pistol, that I believe that pistol takes up one slot.
Mm-hmm.
Then they can use I think it was they get 3 slots. They can take 2 of those. Yeah. So the regular will buy 1 pistol that takes up 1 slot. They have 2 remaining. If they want, they have the option of taking 2 slots and trading it in for an extra trait. So you can have a regular that normally would have 1 trait, now have 2 traits, or a leader have 4 traits. So it all works out, and there's some balancing that you've got to do because you can buy grenades and all kinds of cool stuff.
So, and in this case, this unit has 2 specialists because they took as their team trait tactical. So
which is in the red box line.
Yeah. So let's, like in the case of Dangar, because he's a specialist, he has 2 traits. Then he has the team trait of tactical, which gave him that. But he's got 2 of his slots taken out by a blaster, 1 taken out by a blaster pistol, and the 1 taken out by armor. So that's his 4 slots that he has there. Then, of course, IG-88 has soulless because he is a robot. And Zuckus, being the slippery slime that he is slippery. So he can leave at a close combat without not being attacked. So yeah, so that's Boss Crew. Then we've got Baron Kerr. So this little group that you threw together with a bunch of different characters.
Yes, and some are made up. My favorite is the droid, named after one of my favorite groups of all time, Van Halen, OU812. I did something that we haven't. I did something with one of the characters that we hadn't tried yet, and it played out very, very well. So, and that was, I think, I got to look. Sorry, I get close to the camera. I gave Baron Kerr a mazer, which his mazer can shoot through cover.
Shoots through schools.
Shoots through schools. And then I gave him a drone. So the drone basically can fly around. So the last game that we played, our last Star Wars game, if you go back and watch it on YouTube, there was a guy on another opposite side of the building. I had the drone come around so I could see the guy, and then the Baron shot through the building using the mazer. I was able to use the drone.
It was
so
quite
I could shoot
epic.
through the building to shoot the guy. Yeah, and it killed him. And it was great because I had no idea what even killed him.
It was well use of the. I wouldn't call it gaming. It was just well thought out. Yeah, I hated him.
Yeah, it was not gaming.
No, I hated him, and then I hated Aura Singh with her laser rifle up on the building, and Warthog spent most of the time on his ass because he kept getting shot.
Yeah,
or out of ammo.
Embo was out first turn. He didn't even get
Embo and his dumb hat got taken out.
Yeah, Rabble, the little Yoda guy, one-eyed Yoda guy, he was a killing machine.
Dorian asked if you get the Queen of Hearts and have a Medipack, is the recoverable action double? So I assume you're asking, can I use the Queen of Hearts to heal one of my wounds? Let's say I have like 2 wounds, and I use a Medipack, I could get rid of the second wound. Yes, you could, if you had two wounds on you. And McMurray's sure that you're about ready to do some magic shit. So always. So this was a great little crew. I always love to see an angry robot. So OU812 was badass. My only problem with this crew, which I loved playing, was that you missed a total chance with this Doug here. They called him Dig, but
Dig Doug,
Doug was good too,
Doug,
but you could have called him Dig Doug.
I'm always trying to find a way, and I've got a character coming on our this Thursday's game to try to add some sort of sexual innuendo in their name. So if it's
of course,
Doug of the Doug, then what's cool about this is before the Book of Boba Fett started, I had saw in the trailer that he had Gamorreans behind him, and I figured that he probably had a crew of Gamorreans that he was going to have in the series. Spoilers, he does. Mm-hmm. So I made the Gamorreans just some grunts, and then I gave them a negative trait. Yeah, I gave them a negative trait so they could get an extra
positive traits. You made them slow, which they are in the original trilogy. They look like they don't know how to move very well.
Right.
And then you made up for it by making them badass in close combat. And if you watch what happened during the game was I used them to great effect to beat the crap out of a car that tried to roll up on us. We had a player that tried to do a drive-by that did not work so well. So we shot the crap out of the car, and then my Gamorreans beat it to death, and then they were stranded and just got shot all to hell. And Fennec Shan was the first one to claim a kill, but then she herself, I got too greedy, got her out in the open. She got picked off by Aura Singh. But
I don't think Boba Fett, anything ever happened to Boba Fett.
No, he was doing what he does, man. He was flying from place to place, getting that money. Because that was the
getting that paper
scenario, knocking on doors, sticking a blaster in somebody's face.
I've got to go and print some more stuff, and I added a card that I just made for a figure I'm almost done painting for Black Chrysanthemum. If you haven't seen Book of Boba Fett, spoilers. He's
straight out of the comic books.
Straight out of the comics. And I gave him a bowcaster, but that was before I had seen him in the show. and then I replaced his picture. I need to replace the bowcaster.
McMurray says he can help you with the sexual.
I'm sure he can.
I'm sure he can. Ordered his hardcover. Yeah, we've got. We've got all kinds coming because George left it open. As soon as he named their favorite kind of music is jizz, then Yeah, so I loved running this crew. That was fun. So we also threw in here. Steve has been steadily working on his Masters of the Universe player cards, which so far that game has been a blast.
That's ridiculous.
The STL is a wonderful thing where you can find a bunch of this stuff. And so Steve went crazy with these. And the best part about this is it uses bits of Galactic Heroes. It uses bits of Wasteland Warriors, which we're going to talk about later. But yeah, so one of the great things we did with Manny Faces was he actually has 3 different cards depending on what his face is. So he's got a robot version of himself, which is soulless. He's got a beast mode, which makes him ferocious brute. And when he's a human, he's a ranged fighter. So when you run into like Skeletor, we pulled some spells straight out of the fantasy book. So it just shows you how you can take a little bit of here, a little bit there. Mechanic. Observe
some of them are just stupid. And I will say, like, with these cards, nothing is like, I didn't follow it. Oh no, I can only have 2 skills with this, or I can only have 1 skill with this guy. I tried to make them match what their powers were in the cartoon and for the action figures. So some of them have got a little bit of push and pull on them.
Yeah. Yeah, so we just did, in this case, it was just, hey, let's just make guys that, and gals that are, make them the way that they are in the comics or the TV show. We want more TV show. And I did the same thing with the G.I. Joe ones I'm working on. So we're going to do a whole Saturday morning cartoon episode where we're going to do some Masters of the Universe, followed by G.I. Joe. I don't know, what else should we throw in there? Thundercats? Laugh Olympics?
I have Wacky Johnny Races. Quest. I've got Johnny Quest. I get the pain. And then maybe we'll throw in Back to School special or something, a very special episode of Wily Games Basement Generals.
Where somebody gets involved with drugs and we have to talk him out of it.
Yeah.
Where they talk to the Baron about not drinking so much. All right, so these are some of my favorites. So yes, we've used the core rules to make our own little pulp games, because really it's anything special. It's you can use the rules for whatever you want. And so Steve's done a great job of making these look like the old school pulp comics. This is his hero, Dutch Oven.
And again, you're seeing front and back of the card.
Yeah, so again, these you fold in half, and you got the front and back. And Zeb Walters, Mini Fridge is my new favorite because she's a stocky little thing. Winston, Smokey Lewis.
Dutch Oven, probably, I think when I started painting miniatures, he was one of my first ones.
So you got to explain. So we've done a Terror Island game with this already, but we're going to do a whole Terror Island campaign book along with a set of cards that are very pulpy, and Dutch is on some of them with some Steve artwork. So it'll be his first cards that he's done for us. He's done a lot of covers for me and some other artwork. But my favorite was the very special episode where Victor Von Zombie got some of Dutch Oven's DNA and made an evil clone of him known as Double Dutch.
Yeah, Double Dutch. So Victor Von Zombie is Dutch Oven's archenemy, and this is Roxy Rockets and her Ready Men. Her crew is allies with Dutch Oven. So you've got Flint, Michigan.
Yep.
Boom Boom Benetti.
Max Haggerty.
Yeah. Who looks like the Baron.
Mm-hmm.
And Mo Schultz.
Well, I also like Tom Morrow and the Tomorrow Men.
Yeah, Tom Morrow and the Tomorrow Men, and then I have the Flying Aces. I have
Cult of Cyclops.
Cult of Cyclops. I have Dr. Oculus and his evil experiments. God, I got a ton of shit.
I got Victor Von Zombie, and I love it because we've used figures from all over. So, like Colonel Crumb, that's a miniature from the Smog.
It's a great miniature too. It's the Smog. I can't remember what the hell the rest of it's in the Baker Street set or something.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the stuff's cobblestones. A lot of it's pulp. But it started
Klaus
with
Braun.
With just again. I just found miniatures that I thought were just either stupid or stupid fun or just stupid, and I wanted to paint them. And now it's like, okay, well, what do I do with this stuff? And they're kind of some are mix of timelines and stuff, and that's where the whole like Terror Island started to come from. Like it's like a Skull Island type thing.
Yeah, where everything can happen, and that's So at some point, we're going to be making all of these available. Now you're going to want. We'll make ones where you can actually put in your own stuff, but these are fantastic. So I can't wait to see what we do for Terror Island. It's going to be great. All right.
Yes.
So anyway, if anybody's got a question about Galactic Heroes 2, throw it up on the comments so I can answer it. And we've kind of talked about that. We've kind of talked about the convention. We'll talk about what's coming up next. But we had some time tonight. This is our 9th episode. We'll be coming up on number 10. We'll have to do something really special for number 10. But I thought we'd take a moment to talk about another game we like. So I wanted to show my sad little urchin child, Wasteland Warriors, which is actually one of my favorites that we've put out. And we're going to talk about why. So we kind of showed in the oh, wait a second. Before we do that, Scott Matthews asked has the card deck changed for Galactic Heroes? No, Scott.
Nope. Nope. But I will say, the thing is if somebody's on the fence about it, getting Galactic Heroes 2, it's well worth it. There is quite a bit of changes, and also it makes it easier if you're gonna mix, like for Masters of the Universe or whatever, if you're gonna mix books with fantasy and Galactic Heroes or Wasteland Warriors, it's a lot easier and seamless to jump between the two now.
Yeah, and we'll be running specials so you can get the cards and the books cheaper. But Wasteland Warriors was one of our first supplements that we did, and to the core rule book, and I really loved it because it's another one where you can really use whatever you got, and it's really it's inspired by me watching Thundar the Barbarian, reading Commandi, reading, playing Gamma World. So the book itself is great because it looks at the Apocalypse a little more goofy sort of view of it. But that doesn't mean you can't strip all that out and just play it straight up, post-apocalyptic Mad Max style. There's no talking bunnies or robots or talking plants or anything like that. But one of the things that's different is how you structure your team is a little bit more like Tales of Horror. So you can make your characters robots, and they have innate abilities. You got mutants, you got mutated animals, you got mutated plants, you've got humans, and each of them have their strengths and weaknesses. So, like mutated animals get to have a mutation, and they start out with fangs and claws, so they get bonuses in close combat. But they're terrible when it comes to figuring out technology, which we'll talk about here in a second. Because a lot of this is scrounging around looking for new tech. And so we've got, for instance, here's a group that I made with Krondar, Grape Ape, who's a mutated animal, Rex, who's a human, Skink, which is a human, and then a robot. So GI-88. And you can see there's lots of traits that come in handy So we have traits in this just like before, and you could bring in some of the traits from the new Galactic Heroes too if you wanted to, obviously. And crew and gang traits. But one of the cool things are mutations. So if you've watched any of our Wasteland Warriors games so far, they've been a lot of fun to use. And if you wanted a way to make a superhero game, this would be a great way to do it too. So you got anything from amphibious to breath weapons, but there's also, if you want to do this, play this straight up, you'll notice there's numbers on this thing, and that means you can roll randomly to see what kind of mutation you can get. And there'll be things like attractive odor. You smell like Sunday dinner to any carnivores in the area. A random creature is generated by the scenario. Rather than moving random, the creature will always move towards you. And bloodthirsty characters will come after you. So you can get a randomly bad one. Density control, energy negation, extended reach, extra eyes. They can be a flyer, have a healing touch. You got the touch. Foul flesh, one of my favorites. Powerful microorganisms live beneath the mutant's outer skin. If he or she is attacked and the wound roll is a wound or out of action, it breaks the skin and bacteria is released. So it basically causes, if anybody hurts you, you put the blast template on you, and anyone in there gets hit by all your gross acid or whatever is making you disgusting. Hostility field, iron hide, kinetic absorption, master of concealment, all these fun things, serpentine body. It's just great. Like I said, you could use it if you just wanted to make like a quick little sci-fi game. But we introduced in Wasteland Warriors introduced tech. So there's different tech levels of stuff that you find, and then you have to figure it out. And humans are better at it than other people. And this tech can be actually carried by your characters if you want, or it can be traded, because what we've done different in this that we did in some of the other games is introduced a survival level on top of just having the campaign being about bettering your characters. You also have to feed your crew and take care of them. And if you miss some meals, then some of the guys are going to leave. So you may find some really cool new piece of tech, but you're going to have to turn around and sell it so that you can feed your your crew, or else they'll decide to wander off. Unless you're all carnivores, or animals, in case you can eat each other. So the weapons list will not only have like range short and long, but it'll also have whether weapons uncommon, that kind of thing. And that tells you how easy it is to figure it out. We've got random gear that pops up. And then it's all about scavenging. So they'll be a major part of the scenario, but then there'll also be scavenge points thrown in there along the way to run around and grab stuff. And we've got all kinds of horrible events that can happen, things that can run in, and tons of scenarios, and the scenarios can be all random. You can pick them if you want. And then, like I said, part of the campaign is providing for your gang, trading, and at the end of a big showdown, we threw in a whole like group of creatures you can run across. A lot of these are based on miniatures that already exist. So, and then yeah, and then we provided like secret alliances, which is right out of Gamma World with the Knights of Genetic Purity and the Collective and the Children of the Atom and stuff. That's like stress. So you can make your teams based on these dudes, and that will give you special advantages and disadvantages. I threw in a weird little Jack Kirby-esque map at the end, and just to have some fun stuff in there too. We got questions, yo.
A lot of the Masters of the Universe stuff came out of that book, like Stinkor. He's not called out in there, but in the traits and the mutations, you can see it. I think in the book it's roll for random mutation. But if you're creating somebody like Stinkor from Masters of the Universe or Too Bad or Whiplash,
McMurray wanted me to go back over Galactic Heroes 2 for the people who showed up late. So I got it here. We'll go to the beginning real quick. So GH2 is got all the stuff you know and love from the original, now 4-year-old game that we made, but we've added a bunch of new stuff. We've made it color. We've added a ton of new traits. We've got especially how to build your team a little bit more refined. We've got additional stuff we brought in from fantasy, like gruesome deaths and heroic sacrifices. A house rule we've had for a long time that if you take more shock than you've got remaining wounds, your guys will retreat. We've got more explanations of tasks and stuff. We've got, like I said, building your crew. We've got we still have the basic leader, specialist, regulars kind of layout, but now they've got an extra layer of how you equip them is based on that. The traits are, like I said, there's 60 something, maybe close to 60 crew traits, alien monsters, psionics, power of the universe, that sort of thing. So if you want Jedis or not Jedis, we've got into equipment. So now each character has a equipment slot based on their level. And so, for instance, a two-handed weapon takes 2 equipment slots, other pieces. So leader has 5, sergeant or specialist has 4, and everybody else, the regulars have 3, and grunts only have 2. So you could have a grunt carrying around a rifle, but he isn't going to have anything else. And we've got a lot more of the primitive weapons in here in case you want to have a little bit of, have it more be like John Carter or something like that, where you've got ray guns and swords, or Masters of the Universe, that kind of thing. Bunch of new gadgets and gear, which Steve was happy about. We got rules for mounts, sample crews, how to do a campaign. It's the same basic games that we had before, but now we've added vehicles. So the originally the vehicle rules were in a separate book. They are now part of Galactic Heroes 2. And we also have rules for building your vehicles. We've also got some pre-made vehicles. And then we added the Codex Galactica, which is a bunch of pre-created characters for you. Everything from our retro sci-fi to our galaxy far, far away, federated space, interdimensional time traveling scientists, and grimdark future, and ancient Mars and colonial Mars. So we added all that. Now, if you get the hardback, you're also going to get the Starfighters rules in there too, which is our battles for fighters, and then you can actually use it for large fleet battles too. And then we'll have the 6 bonus scenarios that were originally available in the original Kickstarter 4 years ago. And let's see here. Weird World War II wanted a tip of the hat to the artists of the books. Well, that's me and Steve. So thanks a lot. I do. Steve's done a bunch of our covers and most of the guts. Yay, Primark just got the original one. Well, we're going to make a special deal for people who bought the original one. Might give them a break. And yes, McMurray Colonial Mars. You know what we're talking about. Some sort of space in the year 1889. So, and as we're talking about badass art, I'm just going to throw these up here real quick again while me and Steve are talking. But some of the cool cards that Steve made for some.
I just got done making all of my mercenaries. All of my mercenaries are
for Star Wars.
For Star Wars with 2.0. Now I've got to do all the Rebels, and then I got to do the Empire. But now they keep making more stuff because of Boba Fett being out. So it's like, God, I'll never be done.
Yep.
Never.
Well, McMurray, you have till January 31st to get that hardback, and the pre-order is over. So I don't want to hear any crying about, oh, I didn't get the hardback, because once again, I think Robin put the countdown on there. And since we've got some new people showing up here, thanks to everybody who's now on with us.
Yeah, welcome.
Talk really quick about why we have this banner at the bottom, which is marchtovictory.net, which is our convention here that we're starting out in Kansas City area. It's cheap to get here, folks, and it's going to be a quality convention, and we're going to keep the prices low. So it's $12. You get a ticket ahead of time, $15 at the door, and that's for Friday night, Saturday all day, and Saturday and Sunday morning, which we're going to have a couple of fun little special tournaments. One is going to be a joust. That we did using Thomas Foss's jousting rules, and then a gladiator last man standing game. There'll be prizes for both of those, but we all know Sundays always at the conventions are kind of bit. So we wanted to have a reason to have some fun on Sunday while the vendors are cleaning up. We're going to have some kick-ass concessions. And on Friday and Saturday night after 6 o'clock, because we were at a American Legion post, we will have a bar and a bartender. So you can have some adult beverages like they do in the rest of the world during their convention.
And right before you mentioned that, I was going to say, unlike there are some conventions that generally kind of frown upon having a younger audience there.
But
this is very also family friendly.
It's still going to be family friendly. We want to have this open to everybody. So one of my favorite things to do at one of our favorite conventions, Recruits, is when I have a table that I've got an 11-year-old and a 60-year-old playing on the same table. So, and yes, the new Galactic Heroes hardback is on the website for pre-order, and only until the 31st. If you miss it, it's gone. Just like we had with the hardback for the Fantasy, covered by Steve, that we had a bunch of people that we had it on sale for 3 months, and then it was gone, and then people were mad. So,
and if you write in an email
afterwards asking about it, you will end up on
you
the
will be
mailbag.
on the you will be in the mailbag.
You will end up here, which we don't have any tonight, but you will end up there. Yeah. And think about a gaming garage sale on Sunday. Well, we are going to have a silent auction on Saturday. So that's one of the things we like about one of our other local cons recruits is the Sunday auction. But I also don't want to just have a garage sale at the convention. So we're very excited about this. We're trying to make it.
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be cool. And we've put up on the website all the other stuff you can do. Bring in your wife. Things to do that she can do are on the website. Other things you can do, like we have a fabulous World War I museum. Will they have Royals games in March? I don't know if that's too early. You can go see a game. We've got some.
It's like a March.
We've got some nice hobby stores in town. We've got. There's a lot to do, and you get some fantabulous, one of a kind, Kansas City barbecue. So, yeah. So even it's cheap to get here. It's we're right dead smack in the Midwest. So
I will say this, that if you go back and you watch some videos of some of the games that Jay's put on at his house, whether it's the Star Wars stuff, whether it's Wasteland Warriors, whether it's Bigger Battles, the London, the Vampires in London game that you did, I don't quote me on that, but those games will. I know Star Wars will. Those games will be playable. At the con.
So yes, if you've watched any of our games on the YouTube, Scott responded, yes, it's too early for the Royals. It's because I don't watch baseball, Scott. If you've watched one of our Star Wars games, if you watched our Masters of the Universe game, if you've watched our Vampires in London game, those will all be at the con. I will be running those. Not Jay is going to be there running his Tantine 4 opening scene from Star Wars A New Hope battle. McMurray's going to run his Eat Hitler game. So that's a bunch of dinosaurs running around eating leaders of the Third Reich. That ought to be fun. I know we've got a Battle for Mobile Bay, Civil War, Ironclad game. We've got I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. We've got a World War II one coming in. So we're going to have 16 tables. Hopefully they'll all be full. We're going to be adding each time. What do we got here?
I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully the world calms down a little bit by then.
Yes. Well, we will be. Not Jay's also going to do his indoor game. That'll be cool. We will be sticking to whatever regulations the city and the facility have. So if they say mask, we have masks. If at the last minute they decide that we can't have large groups, then we'll refund everybody their money and we'll try next year. So my woman rolled her eyes in what the wives can do comment. Hey man, I'm just telling you, you're like me and you're lucky enough to have a wife that's into gaming. My wife runs this whole company. I just do all the other stuff. But you have to agree that 95% of the dudes that want to come here have wives who could not care less, and they're not going to let them come unless they could come. So that is not a comment on women. That is an observation based on 40-something years of gaming. So Would love to come to the con. May have to wait till COVID moderates. Yep. Well, and you are welcome to wear a mask. I will tell you from our point of view, everyone that's on our gaming group is vaxxed and boosted. So I can't speak for everyone, but that's how we are. So
And high on crack.
yes, we will have some Hoth too. So that's what we got going. I'm very excited for that. If we get 50 people, I don't give a crap. It'll still be fun. We'll play with what we got. We had Wiley War Game Weekend. We had 16 people. It was a blast. 2 years before that, we had 40 something people. Also a blast. So we'll play with whatever we got, and it's gonna be fun. And we're trying to make this quality game experience. Great games, great people. Trying to, as Not Jay has mentioned on his podcast, which you should like and subscribe and also watch on his podcast or his video cast, that I'm a snob when it comes to terrain and miniatures and all that stuff. So we will have some good games. Are you guys any other cons this year? No. And I've done it enough to know that the size that we are, that I can make more money sitting at home selling stuff on our website over 3 days than loading up everything, driving 14 hours, paying for gas, paying for lodging, paying for vendor tables, and maybe break even if I'm lucky. So, and even if I go to some place like Adepticon, which is the same weekend we're running ours, that we would just be lost in the flood of the bigger stuff. And Not Jay talked about on his show about conventions, and I agree with him completely in that there are like two types of conventions. There's the big ones that you go for the experience of the big convention, like Gen Con or some of the other ones. And then there's the ones you go to play. And that's not to say you can't play at these other ones, but it's not the same experience. And so we're trying to make a good old-fashioned wargaming convention that's not old-fashioned in a lot of ways, and try to make it different in its own way. I've been burned on going out to conventions too many times. We're just not. Now, that being said, I have flown all the way to Salute and put on games there, but that's a little bit different because it's already set up for me and I don't have to haul anything. And I have my buddy James there selling the stuff. So it's just, let's see here. So hopefully that covered why we're not going to any of them. It's not that I don't want to go. And it's just a matter of that it's not worth us. So
it's a lot to haul. It's a lot to haul.
Yeah. So the information on the con is right at the bottom of your screen, marchofvictory.net. So you can go check it out there. Hopefully we've got everything. Don Jay's might be headed to MillCon in Round Rock, Austin this year. Millennium Con, is that Millennium Con? I guess it is. And
yeah, so if you can get out here,
it's marchofvictory.net. It is not .com. So yeah, and I've been asked to go to Millennium Con a couple of times, but again, that's still a haul down there for me. And in the end of it, it's just not. It's not worth it for us. Might go as a scouting mission and just go hang out or something like that. But for us to load up all of our stuff and all the games I want to run and get down there, by the time I pay for it, it's not going to be worth it. I think on our best day that we had of recruits, and that was like when we first came out and no one had heard of us and we hadn't saturated the market. I think we cleared like $250. So now we do it just for the fun of it. So and this con isn't a Wiley Games con by any means. It's we're helping put it together, but it is not ours. So we have a group of people that are helping us, and they are we've got a council of elders, which is helping us sort of figure out where the money gets spent, and the whole goal is to just make enough money to fund the next one, and if it's bigger, we get a bigger place, and hopefully just keep growing it. So if we get 100 people, we'll be overjoyed. If we get 150, we'll be like knocked it out of the park, which we should be able to get just for being in here in Kansas City with the amount of people that we got. But also, like I said, we're up against Adepticon, but I think the people that are going to Adepticon are going to be not the same people that are coming to our little old convention here in Kansas City. So.
Yeah, I am excited. I'm wanted to get out again, and especially we play all the time, but just that convention feel.
So speaking
get all the feels back.
Speaking of when we play, so Thursday we are running we're calling it the Jedi Hunters. So this is going to be right after Order 66, and they're hunting down all the Jedi. So Steve has painted up a whole group of Sith Jedi Hunters and the Inquisitors and their bodyguards and their crew facing a bunch of surviving Jedis with theirs on a nice little jungle planet somewhere. So it ought to be a blast. We've got enough for 10 players. I think we got 8 showing up. And don't know if we'll do a live cast. I think people enjoy it when I can knock it back down to a more digestible 30 minutes or something.
You could do both.
Yeah, I could provide both.
You could do the live. You could do the live cast and then do a rewind.
Yes. Yeah, we could have. Yeah, that's a good one. We can do it the rewind and just have a shorter version of it in case people don't want to listen to our shenanigans for 3 hours. But there are people who like it. Yes, I am very excited. Hi, Paul.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and
we use Galactic Heroes for Star Wars. I have retro guys we use. We've played this hard sci-fi games. So if you haven't seen them on our YouTube, we've got plenty of YouTube games where we've played it. So we've got that coming up. And then as far as the rest of the year coming up, I'm very excited for some of the supplements and games that will be coming out. So one of the reasons that I wanted to get Galactic Heroes 2 out there was because I've got a bunch of supplements that'll pop right off of that. And one of them is a Victorian sci-fi version. So these will be supplements. So they'll be they won't be standalone games, but they'll be using the Galactic Heroes book as its basis, and then they'll be for flavor. So we'll have a Victorian sci-fi supplement that'll give you basically all your crews with that steampunk equipment and different settings. So you can do dinosaur hunts on Venus, and you can do fighting on Mars, or you can just do some what if World War I and 1870s with all kinds of steampunky elements. And then with that, and then we'll also do one that's a supplement for starfighters that'll be battles with big flying battleships and stuff. And then the one that I think everybody's wound up for is Battlesuit Alpha, which will be our mecha combat.
That's going to be
more anime kind of mecha combat. That'll be based off Galactic Heroes. And then we have a larger mech one that's going to be a la Battletech. But, yeah, and then we got We got samurais. We've got what else we got? Steve, gladiators.
Gladiators. I'm looking forward to that one. I want to do the artwork for that.
Yeah. No, I bet you
cool.
do. And then we're gonna do some for supplement for horse and musket. It'll be Buccaneers and Cavaliers, so that'll be our swashbuckling, pirates and that kind of stuff. So, Victorian sci-fi is a little bit niche, so I don't. That'll probably be another one of my stepchildren, like Wasteland Warriors, that nobody buys, but I just absolutely love. Any resources for modern games? Yes, the core book is all you need, really. That's what Jay said. So, or not Jay said. So, we don't write to specific, specific miniatures or anything like that. It's really kind of a toolbox for you to fill in what you want, and we're more of a gun is a gun. So if you want to break down and do a modern combat, and you want to know the difference for World War II, and want to have different values for a Thompson or a MP40, you're not going to find it here. And a grenade is a grenade, and that kind of stuff. So we're caring less about that and more about the Hollywood, aspect of it. But and moderns is really low on my list of stuff to make supplements for. Probably only thing that I don't want to do even more than that is can you guess it, Jay? Can you not Jay out there?
I know what it is.
Well, it looks like not Jay is going to be doing a video for US First, and we have run them. For our very first Wily War Games weekend, our buddy John did a whole Afghanistan game, but it's just doesn't. The only thing that I at least want to do more than that is Age of Sail or Naval. So there you go. Yep, there you got it. Naval. It's not that I hate ships. It's just there's I'm a terrain guy and a table guy, and just a big blue cloth with a bunch of little things on it just doesn't do anything for me. So, and there's people who love it like you, but I don't. I'm the war gamer who likes the games, likes the miniatures, and I like painting the miniatures. I like the research, and I like doing the terrain, and I like doing crazy amounts of terrain. So something like naval just doesn't apply. This doesn't excite me. Now, once you make it fantasy naval, and I'm going to have like giant squids running around and some dragons and some balloons and fiery catapults and stuff, yeah, you might get my attention. But and we had a really great Victorian sci-fi game using some old dystopian wars ships, and that was a blast. But that's because we had a bunch of little islands, and it was wacky. Yeah, so you will not get any boats out of me unless they're pirate ships. So anyway, those are just a few of the things we've got coming up here in the next year, hopefully. And Steve, anything else? So as we're getting into our last bit of the show,
I was going to say, don't quote me on anything.
Don't quote me on anything.
Yeah, for something coming out because you.
I know. Remember, Starfighters came out of nowhere. I just decided to do it. Same way with Gladiators. So stuff will come in and come out. It may not get done this year, but we try to put out a book every quarter. So we're up to 17, 18 titles now. So we try to put out one every quarter, and then usually the cards that go with it. So if we're going to do Victorian sci-fi, we're going to do Victorian sci-fi cards. If we're going to do Gladiators, we're going to do Gladiator cards to go with it too. And I'm excited for the pulp ones that Steve's going to do. So if anybody has any questions about Galactic Heroes 2 or what we were up to, throw them up here now while we're still on. And then our next one will be our 10th BSing with the Baron. That's not counting all the other videos we did of just gaming. And we'll try to do something special. We'll have a very special guest on, or guests. Me and Steve will be shirtless or something. One of those. Or just even more
dressed as gladiators.
If it's gladiators, definitely.
And like you said, Thursday we're doing the Star Wars Jedi game, and that will all be 2.0 Galactic Heroes.
Yes. And that'll be great because it'll have all the force powers in it too. So that'll be really cool. We'll have
everybody will have a force user.
Throwing rocks around, crushing people, healing people, lightsabers, all that kind of stuff. I can't wait for that part. We'll make sure that we give the best, most deadly Inquisitors and Jedis to the worst players, like people that don't know anything about anything. And so we'll have another Darth Maul killed in the first turn situation, or Luke dead on turn 2, that kind of thing. So can't wait for that.
I'm finishing painting a couple of the Jedi for Thursday. And
show us, Steve.
Nope, it's a secret. You got to tune in.
We did not add any new force powers, not Jay, because it was so perfect. We didn't feel any of that. I mean, we pretty much covered the ones that are in.
I don't.
In there, I thought
there was something that was.
You can also just add stuff. There's no, that's a great part about the rules is you can throw stuff in there, either from another book or just make something up. Paul would like to see some sort of online directory for weapon, firepower, range, etc. suggested. So if you have cops and robbers and I figure as an AR-15, I could get the stats. Paul, have you played any of our games? If you're playing the core rules or something like that, the stats for assault rifles and everything should be in there. And so, like I said, I'm not gonna break down the subtle differences between the use of an AR-15 or FN, FLA, or whatever. Choose your modern assault rifle.
They're all pretty easy to figure out just based on what's in there.
Yeah, so it's less about the subtleties between weapons and more about how you trade up your guys and how you use the cards in the game to play. So Battlesuit Alpha is going to be, you can use it however you want. I'm trying to, he wanted to know if Battlesuit Alpha is a big mecha or a power armor kind of game. You can scale it however you want. I am basing it more on, if you've watched some of the videos or seen some of the pictures of the games that we have played about Battlesuit Alpha, it's more of a anime scale battlesuit kind of a thing. So, not as gigantic as Battletech, where they're like bigger than buildings kind of a thing. Although I am writing a whole separate rules set just for that. And that's going to be the mech soldier rules, because in that I wanted to get into one of my favorite things about Battletech was having to keep track of your heat levels and keep your balance with your atomic power gigantic battle mech. So Battlesuit Alpha is going to be smaller scale, like Botom's anime, or I use in the game for the game and stuff. We used a lot of DreamPod 9 miniatures and stuff. But there's tanks, there's infantry, there's flyers, and all that kind of stuff. The thing is, you can technically use Galactic Heroes right now as it is. I even put a blurb in there. We've played it just we've played this Galactic Heroes with mechs. It's all how you trade it, because when you think about a trait, and I've spoke about this at length before, when you're trading up some miniature and you're giving them a +1 because of Deadeye, is that because the guy is better trained? Is that because he has better optics on his weapon? Is he got a cyborg eye? Is he an alien? So when you're making your mech for it, you know, how you stat him is how you do it. So you could play right now with the rules as is, but I'm going to be making a more advanced way of adding equipment and trading up the vehicles. That'll be very similar to how Starfighters is built. And in Starfighters, how you make your fighters and stuff is, you know, based on the size of your ship and how many slots you have open to fill with weapons and systems. So it'll be very much like Starfighters. In fact, there's a guy on Lead Adventure Forum who's already done basically what I'm already doing. So
what about Kaiju?
Yeah, why not?
Put some Kaiju in there.
Yep. So yeah, so we'll have so Dorian, the whole heat sinks thing, that's a whole nother level to the gaming, and some of you have either seen on our Facebook page or whatever, I've been printing out 6mm Battletech miniatures in 15mm scale. So they're like this tall. They're, 8-9 inches tall, and I've taken and I've blown up the terrain and all that stuff, so I can just have this, a mech the size of an old school GI Joe miniature.
and they hold up. They hold up. They don't. When you blow them up, they look great.
So the joys of digital printing. So we're gonna have that. Kind of, this is a separate thing, but yeah, I want to have kind of all the anime aspects to it. There's a couple of play tests I want to get in because I'm really tinkering with just making ranges unlimited. Just anything on the table can hit, which would make things a lot more fun and deadly. Todd just showed up. Wardrobe plays World War II. Yeah, you got in here just in time for me and Steve to sign out. As usual. But you can always go back and watch this when it's back on YouTube. So any more questions for Galactic Heroes 2, which, as a reminder, end of this month, there will be no more sales of the hardback, but we'll have a softback available. We'll still have some copies of the original, like super cheap. The cards will be the cards, are the same ones. Nothing's going to change about them. And still Hollywood versus history, that kind of version of it, and still a good, massive player game. So, and if you want to see it played in action by the guys who made it, down at the bottom of your screen, marchofvictory.net, our convention that we'll be at. And Steve will be running a Masters of the Universe game on Saturday. I'll be running a Tales of Horror, Vampires in London, and Werewolves, and other stuff.
Star Wars.
Which you can picture of online. What else am I running? I got something else I'm doing too.
What are you running?
Yeah, because I've got a bunch of different ones I'm running. Ken's going to be running a Wasteland Warriors game.
Okay.
With that fantastic terrain you might have seen on social media. Not Jay will be running his Tantine 4 first scene of the boarding of Princess Leia's ships in Star Wars A New Hope. And McMurray will be there running a game. So we've got 16 tables. They're filling up nicely. And yep. Yes, and in fact, Todd just ran the Eat Hitler game on his own channel. So you can check that out if you want to see what that game is going to be like. And
I'll do that.
like I said, some tournaments on Sunday, and that's about it. So this is where me and Steve start to wind stuff down. Don't know what next week or next game's gonna, or next game or next week, what our next show is going to be about. But we will either have something new to say or have a new person on. Last couple minutes, if anybody's got any questions before we go,
tune in Thursday.
Tune in Thursday for our Jedi Hunters game that we're going to have. That'll be, I think it's going to be really cool, especially when we get the crew that we're going to have. It's going to go poorly for them. So see you on another Tuesday, peoples.